Good morning, students. Today we study about the deformation of a single crystal by sleep. In previous lecture, we studied about the sleep, means the mechanism of the plastic deformation by sleep and by training, and also the difference in between them both. Now, here we are dealing with the topic deformation of a single crystal by a sleep. We consider a single crystal, and when sleep occurs, what happens to the single crystal, that we will study in terms of force, magnitude, direction, that we will study in this topic. Now you can see the diagram I draw over here. This is the initial diagram, means 3D view of the single crystal, which shows a sleep mechanism. Here the direction is showing along the motion or along the shear force is nothing but the direction of the sleep, and the plane where the sleep is occur, that plane is called as the sleep plane. But in terms of specification, if we observe that there is a tensile force along the axis of the single crystal, which is denoted by capital F here. Again, here the sleep direction is shown as per this diagram. There is a sleep direction, and where the force is crossing that sleep direction. Here again the force along the sleep plane is given. Force along the sleep plane, which is nothing but theta, and it is the angle in between the sleep force, the force along the sleep plane and the sleep direction, that is called as the theta. And the perpendicular force is nothing but the force normal to the sleep plane is alpha, which is nothing but the angle between the force normal to the sleep plane and tensile force. Again, the angle in between tensile force and the force along the sleep plane is beta. This is what the specification of this diagram. Now we will see the derivation of the deformation of a single crystal by sleep. Now, theta is what? The angle between, theta is the angle between the sleep plane and the sleep direction. Now, capital A is an area of single crystal. Means this area. The cross-sectional area of the single crystal, and A dash is the cross-sectional area of the sleep plane. Now, if we have to find out the area of sleep or A dash, then we will got A by calculating A by cos of alpha. Now, this we have to consider. Then the component of the axial force F acting along the sleep plane. F along sleep plane is nothing but F cos of beta. F cos of beta. Again, by the definition of stress, we know that force upon cross-sectional area. Here, if we resolve the shear stress along the sleep plane, shear stress along sleep plane, we can say that tau resolve, the shear stress is denoted by tau, resolve is equal to force upon cross-sectional area. Here the shear force along the slip plane. Shear force along slip plane to the cross-sectional area of the slip plane. We already find it. We give the number to this equation as equation number 1 and 2. By equation number 1 and 2, we can put the value of this shear force along the slip plane to the cross-sectional area of the slip plane. By putting these values, we will get tau resolve is equal to tau resolve is equal to force is F cos of beta divided by A cos of alpha. As beta is what? Beta is nothing but the angle in between the normal slip plane, the force in between the force along the slip plane and normal to the slip plane. So we can say that beta is nothing but 90 minus alpha. So if we put this value, or you may say that this is what F upon area here is stress. Means you can say that the sigma t into cos of alpha cos of beta into cos of alpha. So tau resolve is what? Sigma t is F upon A is stress, cos beta and A upon cos of alpha is there. So it goes on numerator. So alpha cos of alpha. Now tau resolve is what? This. We give this as equation number 8. Now we find out the tau resolve or shear stress of the resolution. The tau resolve is maximum when alpha and beta are 45 degree. As we know that cos of 45 is nothing but 1 upon square root of 2. So by putting this value here, tau resolve is equal to sigma t into 1 upon square root of 2 into 1 upon square root of 2 is equal to sigma t divided by 2. This is what? The solution or the deformation of the single crystal by slip. We find out the shear stress along the slip plane. In examination, there may be question to prove this solution that prove that tau resolve is equal to sigma t upon 2, or it is nothing but the in statement it will ask as the value of resolved stress along the slip direction exceed the particular called as the critical shear stress, or to find out the critical shear stress there must be a question in examination. It is very important topic. Now as we know that the slip occurs due to the sliding of the two portions on each other. There may be two type of slip is occur in the any single crystal that with a non-constraint end and by constraint end. Non-constraint end means it is not defined. The end is not defined, and you may say that the slip is occur along this is non-constraint. This kind of slip is called as a slip in non-constraint. Constraint means limited or focused, or you may say it as a uh, in a proper direction, and it is not in a direction, so it is called as a non-constraint ends. Now, where with a constraint end, it will be look like this kind of slip. When ends are constrained, this kind of slip is called as the slip with a constraint end. Now, the next topic is the work hardening. Now, it is a phenomenon by which metal become harder during the mechanical work. Means while going under the mechanical work, it is become harder and stronger one. During the mechanical working, the strain or the straining, you may say it as a straining of that metal, it becomes a harder and stronger. That is during the plastic deformation of the metal, you may say it as. After initial work hardening, the straining, more and more stress is required to bend or to deform that metal or material. You may say it as a metal or a material. The same definition is for material and metal also. Now, for example, if we took the example of operation of the hammering a nail, quite often the nail bends, but it does not get, it does not means it require more and more stress while hammering that mill. This is one example of work hardening, that it becomes harder and stronger while working on it. When we are working on that metal or material, that time it becomes harder and stronger one to get deformed, means it will not allow to deform anymore. So this is what example, the nail get plastically deformed and work hardened or strained. Now, if we try to strain the nail, it will require more force than the required to bend it. Means more and more force is required to rework on that nail. Now, this phenomenon of the work hardening, straight hardening can be explained by using the two theories, that theory of slip and theory of dislocation. There are two theories of the work hardening. That first one is theory of slip. Theory of slip, and second one is theory of dislocation. Theory of slip we already studied in the previous topic, that how slip is occurred due to the shearing force. The two portion or a single crystal can slide on each other, and it has a plane which is called as a slip plane, and the direction in which the metal is sliding or shearing, showing the shearing force, that called as the slip direction. Now, the theory of dislocation is referred any defect or obstacle come in the linear direction of the crystal distance. This dislocation can be caused by the mismatching of the atomic plane in the crystal structure. Means you may say it as, if I draw the diagram here, we can see the theory of dislocation, or can be understood. You can understand the theory of dislocation better. Now, see, I draw the diagram of the theory of dislocation over here. As we know that what is dislocation? Dislocation is caused due to the presence of or absence of the extra atomic plane or absence of the atomic plane in the crystal structure. This dislocation occur during the plastic deformation due to mechanical pressure applied on the metal. Now, the movement of dislocation increase. If we see the diagram, the movement of the dislocation increases, and when the obstacle come in between, then it remove that with the formation of loop and obstacle, and it will again regain to its original shape and size. So this demonstrate the movement of the atomic plane during the dislocation of the atom. And obstacle can be in the form of impurity and precipitated particles, grain boundaries. As we see that it is precipitated, means removed from the its direction where the dislocation is moving in the direction. Now, the second diagram I will draw here, that representation of the dislocation by anchored formation, means it forms a loop or it forms an anchor while accepting that obstacle into it. Now, previously we see the representation of the dislocation by loop formation. Now here the representation of the dislocation by anchored formation. We see the diagram here. The pin is, means the polarity is there. I told you that whenever there is a positive dislocation, that time we show the symbol that reverse T in the diagram. Now here the positive dislocation is there, and this dislocation continues forming a loop around that pin defect and regenerate a loop around the obstacle. Hence the density around the defect increases during the plastic deformation, and this regeneration of the dislocation is also referred as or called as a Frank-Reed source of the multiplication of the dislocation. Thank you for listening.